Hello and welcome. My name is Alex, founder and director of MPSI Technologies. This is the fourth episode of the format The Whiznium Developer Experience, called Boosting Your Development Workflow, the Whiznium Tooling. Once set up properly, Whiznium is a powerful helper and time saver for your everyday embedded software development. To help leverage the Whiznium functionality, a number of cross-platform open source tools are available which will be introduced here. My presentation is composed of 4 segments. The first segment is a tour of the Whiznium online documentation, which includes complete installation instructions. In the second segment, I will show how WhizniumSBE is initialized for use with your projects. The third segment illustrates a full WhizniumSBE powered development cycle, from bringing up a new project to cross-compiling the generated sources. Finally, in the fourth segment, I will show the equivalent procedure for WhizniumDBE. Let's start with a quick tour of the Whiznium documentation, which is available as a GitHub repository online. The link can be found under this video. The documentation contains several setting up instructions and then some additional topics which relate to the everyday work with WhizniumSBE and WhizniumDBE. To set up Whiznium on a workstation, a number of command line instructions have to be followed, and they are pretty straightforward. Installation of WhizniumSBE and WhizniumDBE itself is required if you do not use the cloud-based Whiznium as a service offering. The 2 subsequent topics are complete instructions for setting up embedded Linux Yocto SDKs, with only a minor portion being related to Whiznium specifics. And the same is here also for Peta Linux, which is Xilinx's branch of Yocto compatible with Xilinx Sync devices. Before performing an initialization of WhizniumSBE, let's have a look at the default folder structure which is present on a regular workstation setup of Whiznium. It is composed of 3 base folders. First of all, there is a Whiznium development folder, which is also suitable to be a network mount. Inside, there are folders for initialization, setup, and a folder with tools, which are the tools we will get to know later on. But mainly what is important, there is a projects folder, which holds for every single project the list of import files, model files, and then there is a repository folder which has the optionally Git-based repositories for each of those projects. This is actually the source code you are editing as a developer. Second, there is the SDK folder. The SDK folder is the place where Whiznium applications are being built, with all the sources, makefiles, and the corresponding output. In the lib subfolder, there are dependencies which are needed for some Whiznium applications. Finally, the Whiznium folder is the default deployment target, where in the binary subfolder, the executables along with their preferences files can be found. Now let's move on to initializing Whiznium for use with local projects. As shown on the slide, WhizniumSBE is composed of 3 executables: the main executable or engine, which is launched in this terminal, and 2 satellite executables which handle atomic operations such as writing source code files in these 2 terminals. By default, the Whiznium master database is empty. To populate it with user-specific information and subsequently project-specific information, there are 2 Java tools available. The first of these tools is WhizniumSBE Bootstrap. When I click on Perform Tool Initialization, I will be asked to first point to the initialization file, which can be found in the downloadable archive. And then I have to specify the path to the archive, which holds the code file templates. Once I do this, the information will be uploaded and incorporated into the WhizniumSBE database. Next, click on Locate Repository Root Directory, I will be asked to point WhizniumSBE Bootstrap to the directory holding all source code repositories of WhizniumSBE projects. It will parse the files inside, and here it will find 4 projects, which on clicking Bootstrap can be incorporated into the WhizniumSBE master database. Now that the WhizniumSBE database is populated, I can use the second tool called WhizniumSBE Iterator to generate new versions of existing projects based on update model information. For this, I first connect to the server, after which all available projects are displayed in this list view. I can select one, for example Whiznium Starter Kit, and decide to step the version and iterate the source code tree. For this, I have to point WhizniumSBE Iterator to the repository which has the respective model files. I can specify some parameters, and on clicking Step, WhizniumSBE will perform the source code tree iteration. And there it is, we have stepped Whiznium Starter Kit from version 102 to 103. And the stepping has been successful, with the old version having been copied to a backup directory. To show the procedure when errors are present in either the model files or the existing source code tree, let's rerun the iteration procedure to show what happens if errors are present in either the model files or the existing source code tree. I connect again, select Whiznium Starter Kit, and hit Step Version and Iterate Source Code Tree. Again, the model files are located in the same directory, and I will be trying to step to version 104. However, now I receive a message that in the model file for basic user interface structures a token is missing. I hit OK, and when looking in the model file, indeed it shows that the end token for the card in the module administration is missing. It should be here. I fix this problem. Save the file and export it as tab-separated text. Let's try again. So now this goes through. However, in the existing source code tree, which is uploaded for stepping the source code tree, there seems to be a problem. These problems are listed in a log file with the paths that can be found here. So this all looks good until at some point there is an error. Specifically in the file ACQ-FPGA flag, there seems to be an invalid insertion point type. Taking a look, this is indeed true. This insertion point tag should read iLine and not iMine. I fix this problem. And now my job is not to step the model again, it is only to iterate the source code tree. For this there is a separate button here, which skips the model iteration. And now it works. And the result of our exercise can be seen in the repository directory. So instead of version 103, I now have 104 in here. For WhizniumDBE, in the same way as for WhizniumSBE, there is a constellation composed of 3 executables as indicated on the slide and as can be seen in this terminal. The bootstrapping procedure is equivalent to the one for WhizniumSBE, and to perform the tool initialization I have to connect, pick the initialization file, followed by the archive of source code tree templates, after which initialization is performed and the WhizniumDBE master database receives its content. And this is followed by populating the database with locally existing WhizniumDBE projects. For this I only have to point WhizniumDBE bootstrap to this repository directory. Here it will find one project, and after hitting bootstrap, this project will be added to the WhizniumDBE database. I can now work with this project, and eventually I can pick one and step it to the next version. For this, there is the tool WhizniumDBE Iterator, which is the WhizniumDBE equivalent of WhizniumSBE Iterator, obviously. I connect, after which my one project will be displayed here. And if I want a new version, I click Step Version and Iterate Source Code Tree, for which I have to point WhizniumDBE Iterator to the model file directory, specify the stepping parameters, and after this it will generate the new source code tree based on updated model information and the existing source code tree. That's it, and I can see the result here in the repository directory. So from version 101 we step to version 102. So this concludes my presentation for this episode. I'm really glad you tuned in. I sure hope you had some takeaways for your own projects. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that you will be back for one of our next episodes. If you have questions or any requirement regarding the open source Whiznium developer tools, please feel free to reach out.